Good morning. Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Oh, we're just going about our usual daily routine here. Just dropped the boy off at Head Start. Now we're heading home. I've been thinking over the last couple of days, part of the whole reason that I started doing these vlogs and stuff is to bring you along with me as I start my photography journey, right? I got my first camera, I've been taking pictures of my family. I got my first shoot of strangers out of the way, and I've got a couple more lined up here soon. I thought that it would be good to offer kind of more of like the internal feelings and thoughts and emotions that I'm discovering as I go along this journey, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but when I'm learning something new, a new skill or need to refresh on things, I go to YouTube and I look up a video, tips and tricks or guides or whatever, right? And there's a lot of really good information out there, but it's all from people who have been doing it for years and years and years. And a lot of those videos are like, 175,000 things I wish I would have done as a beginner. And in my experience, it's like I would go buy a $2,000 camera, or they say, you don't need anything except your phone, but only if you have $1,000 phone, right? This phone I record on was like $50, and it's not the greatest, I'll admit that, but it works. It's what I have, right? That being said, I do want to invest in something specifically for my vlogs. I don't want to use my phone, but that's just me. I want to get a GoPro or one of those fancy Pocket 3 cameras, just something dedicated to vlogging, but that's a me thing, right? Anyways, I kind of already got off track on that. The insight and stuff that I wanted to kind of start sharing and get into discussing with you guys is, what is it really like as a beginner photographer? What are some of the things that I thought I was going to encounter, or that I didn't think about and I have encountered? And a lot of that is not as scary as I thought it was going to be. I thought that it was going to be this like super intimidating situation getting into photography. I thought that it was going to be way scarier than I've actually found that it is. And I'm glad that I've had the experiences I've had so far. When I first got my camera, I was so afraid to go out and snap my first pictures because I knew that they were going to be hot dog shit. And they were. And that's fine. They're going to be bad. Your first pictures are going to be bad. Now, I will say, if you are into photography, if you're artsy, you have a creative eye, you have creative ideas and stuff, you're probably going to do better than you think you are, right? I haven't learned a whole lot about the fundamentals and like the things you have to know before you snap your first picture. I got the basics, I know what I like when I look at a photo. I know what is appealing to my eye, and that is something that I think about as far as like composition and stuff, the way that you frame the subject, right? And I'll put up some examples of my photos that I have enjoyed the composition of and that I've gotten compliments on. And these aren't compliments from like my wife and my mom although they do compliment my pictures, these are compliments that I've gotten from my friends who are professional photographers and have been for 15 years. These are compliments from people in the industry and well established. You know, another thing is like the fear of putting myself out there and trying to find people willing to let me practice, right? No, I don't frame it that way. I don't say, hey, I'm still trying to learn how to use my camera. I'm still trying to learn what makes a good photo. I say, right now it's Christmas, you know, obviously it's Christmas season. People do family photos to put up or to mail out for Christmas cards or what have you. So I frame it as portfolio building, because really that's what it is. They don't need to know that I'm still learning how to take pictures, right? And it's worked. You know, there are families out there who are willing to let me take pictures of them. Granted, I'm not charging. I'm doing that for free because I need more examples of my work. I need a dynamic range of examples for people to look at. You know, whether that's location, editing style, you know, balancing skin tones, whatever it is, people want to see their options, right? I've only been doing this I've had my camera for like 3 months now, maybe. And I've only shot one other family so far. I've shot a bunch of pictures of my wife and kids. I've only shot one other family. I have a shoot coming up this weekend of another family that I don't know. They're strangers. And also, I have a bunch of people at my church wanting photos taken. So we're setting up a little photo booth, and we're gonna get a bunch of families through. I'm excited for that. It's gonna be good practice talking to people and a good simulation for when I get to do minis. But, you know, there's so much information out there for beginners, and I just thought that it might be nice to get some of that information from a beginner who's going through kind of some of the same stuff firsthand, not years and years ago, but currently. So I'm going to take you guys inside, and I think I'm going to pick up recording on my computer, but we'll pick up inside once I get set up in the office. So I'll see you guys there. Hello. We are in the office now. We're set up here at the computer, obviously. We got the good mic, so you guys can probably hear me really well. So yeah, some of the things that I really thought that I was going to be more nervous about, right, was going out and shooting without a plan. Now, I don't want to give you the wrong idea. I think that if you were to plan better than I do and better than I have, you will probably have a more productive session, right? Now, I'm not talking about shooting other families because I've only done that once. I'm talking about when, like my last vlog, I'd go out and I shoot the nature in my town. You know, I go out and I shoot something interesting that my local community has to offer. Now, I have ideas, but I haven't written down a plan of what I hope to get out of it, right? In the spring and summer, my town has a little market at this cool little alley, and it's all like industrial, like brick buildings and stuff, and it's this cool alleyway between the backs of those buildings, so it's lined with brick walls, and there's merchant stalls and people hustling and bustling. We've got like farmers markets and boutique stands and all kinds of cool stuff, right? I think that I am going to have a lot of fun shooting those mornings, just capturing what's going on in my little town. When I go out and I shoot, you know, like when it snowed and I took you guys around the lake,
that wasn't something that I really planned out. I didn't write anything down. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into that session other than, hey, I've been wanting good pictures of the lake since we moved here, since before I got a camera, since before I really put any real thought into doing photography. But now that I have the camera, it snowed, it was pretty, nobody was out and about. So I took my camera and I went and I got some pictures, and it was fun. It was cold, but it was fun. If you are good with going out on a whim or spontaneously going out and shooting nature scenes or buildings or street photography or whatever, you kind of have to do street photography spontaneously, right? Because you can't plan those candid street photography moments. You can plan a lot more around your nature shoots. You can plan a lot more around shooting portraits and stuff. Don't be afraid to sit down and write out specific goals for what you want to capture, but don't be disappointed if reality doesn't align with that, right? Because we can't force those candid moments to happen. That's why they're candid, right? Earlier, I was talking about how when I'm watching videos, trying to get ideas or tips or just absorb more of the photography world, I go and I watch videos, and a lot of the time they're like, oh, I suggest buying this camera. It costs $1,000 plus this lens, which is another $200. That is not where I started. I got a camera and 2 lenses for just over $300. It was like $360 or something. And that's, for my lifestyle, for my situation, that's not something that I just go out and I drop every day on a new hobby, right? That's something that I had to make a sacrifice to make that money to be able to buy my camera and those 2 lenses, which ultimately ended up not working for my camera. Now they work, but the one lens, the autofocus doesn't work and it doesn't have manual focus. Somehow, some way, manual focus doesn't work on that lens. The other lens, it works great. It's a telemacro, 70 to 300. The manual focus works, but I experienced missing focus a lot. Even through the viewfinder, double checking on the LCD, I would upload the photo to my Lightroom and start editing, and I would realize I'm not focused on my subject. I'm focused on something right next to it, or something in the background, or something else. So that's something that I had to overcome, and we shifted and we got this other lens. It's an awesome lens. It's a 50mm f1.8, and I love it. That's the only lens that I use currently, and I've been able to get really pleasing results with it. I'm very thrilled with the photos that I've gotten with this lens so far. My point is, no matter your budget, just get something, right? Before I bought the camera that I have, which is a Nikon D5000, it's a great camera. I really like this camera. It has been everything that I need it to be. Paired with this lens, I mean, I've been able to capture some great photos. This is an old camera. This is not new and shiny and fancy, and it doesn't have a touch screen, and it doesn't have all these extra features and stuff. And I mean, it works great. It does everything that I need it to do. That's not the camera that I wanted. I wanted to get a Sony a6400. That was way farther outside of my budget. I wouldn't have been able to make that happen as fast as I was able to get this camera and start shooting. What I'm getting at here is, don't set your sights so high and have these preconceived notions of what you think you need when it comes to gear, because all you need is something to capture your photos, and then learn that piece of gear. Get something with a low entry floor. The ceiling is going to be high enough. It just is. Long enough growth period with that piece of equipment that by the time your skills are ready for the next level of gear for an upgrade, it will be worth it. To give you an example, I've been shooting with this camera for a couple of months now, and I recently took a trip to Florida. If you guys watched that vlog, it was a lot of fun. I had such a great time. I met up with one of my professional photography friends. He let me try out his Sony a7 IV with a nice lens and a small rig cage on it. And honestly, it was extremely overwhelming just because of there were so many extra buttons, and the focus had a joystick where you could move the focus point around on the LCD, and just all this crazy stuff that, like, my mind is still blown thinking about it. Like, I am not ready for that level of camera. Now, if I would have started with that, I probably wouldn't have shot with it as much as I have with this camera so far, because it was just a lot. It was overwhelming with the amount of features for a beginner. I'm still very, very new to this. I'm still learning everything. And I'm going to be for years. I'm still going to be learning. I'm still going to be adjusting and improving. Hopefully with every shoot, I improve something. I get better at something, right? Whether that's focusing more on lighting when I'm shooting portraits of people, whether that's really, really thinking about the composition. There's always something to focus on to improve every single shoot, right? Every single shoot, whether it's from actual technological, right, standpoint, like I said, with lighting, composition, exposure, your camera settings, whether it's actual tech stuff or it's interactions with people. If you're out shooting portraits, that's something that I talk with my friend a lot about is he gives me tips on when he's shooting weddings or other events with people, you know, things he does to produce that laughter and those moments, whether it's knowing that if you say, okay, you know, 1, 2, 3, and then you snap the picture on 3, someone's gonna have their eyes closed, someone isn't smiling, you know, someone's looking the other way, hair's in the face, whatever the case is, right? But if you say okay on 3 and then you go 1, click, everybody's ready, because that anticipation, right? They want to be ready. They are still in that moment of, okay, you know, we're posing for the picture, you know, whatever it is. You catch them off guard with that 1 and you start snapping photos. By the time you get to 3, that moment's gone. A tip that he gave me was, you know, sometimes when I'm shooting the before pictures for weddings, you know, okay, look at the person who just farted. It catches people off guard. They're like, what did he just say? They laugh. It breaks that tension of, oh my God, there's somebody with a camera. They're gonna take my picture. How do I look? You kind of divert their mind from that for a second and you capture those giggles, those smiles. The other thing that I've been wanting to talk about is this vlogging thing. I've been watching a lot of videos about gear for vlogging and tips and tricks for vlogging and how to vlog better and everything. And just yesterday, it was like a compilation of interviews with YouTubers who do the vlogs, or I guess just kind of content in general. And one of the things they said is nobody cares. Nobody cares about your video. Nobody cares about the photos you put in your video. Nobody cares about the fact that you're doing videos at all. Nobody you know cares. And also the audience doesn't care. If you're putting out a good video, it's gonna get watched. Another thing they said was your first 10 videos, your first 20 videos, maybe even your first 30 videos are going to be completely ignored by everybody. And that's okay too. All you have to do is get the content out, right? That's another reason I decided to sit down and make this video. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge to share. I don't have a whole lot of tips all I can do is talk about the experience that I've had so far and some of the things that I've encountered and been able to overcome this far. I'm going to continue to do the vlog thing and these talking heads and whatever else because I enjoy the process of doing it. I enjoy bringing you guys along on my journey and showing you what I have in my area. I live in a very small town in the middle of nowhere in the Midwest. I'm surrounded by cornfields and straight roads and flatness. We don't have canyons, we don't have mountains, there's no forestry here. It's a very dull environment. But I still have to be able to find the beauty and the things worth capturing in this environment. And you may be somewhere completely different, and you may have never been somewhere like the area that I live in, and this may be interesting to you. This may be something where you're like, well, if this guy can go out and find places to shoot even though he's surrounded by nothing, then I can for sure, because I live in a bigger city, so street photography is more accessible. I live in a state with mountains and canyons and rivers and forests and desert. So I hope that gives you some ideas for wherever you live that you can go and explore, even if it's just a park in the town that you currently live in. You don't have to go super far away to go see things. You have a park with trees, you have a park with a creek that runs through it, you have a park with a water fountain surrounded with whatever. Go shoot it. Go look at it. Go really see it like you're seeing it for the first time. Look at it with that creative eye of, how could I capture this? What's interesting about this? What would someone who's never been here or might not ever be here want to see about this specific location? That's something that I kept in mind about my lake shoot, was our cute little stone piers. They're nothing fancy, but it's still cool. It's still interesting that there's something like that in this small town that I live in. One of the things is the live music that plays at one of the stone piers. That's pretty cool. Why do they pick that spot? What's drawing people to go there for that? In a town not too far from here, there's a big lake, a big lake. Every year that we've lived here so far, in the winter when it gets cold enough for the lake to freeze, they park an old beater car out on the frozen ice, and you can put in to guess the date that the lake will be thawed enough for the car to fall through, and whoever gets closest to the date wins like a cash prize or something. I don't know, I've never involved myself in that, but it's something we've seen every year, and that's interesting. That might be kind of a cool thing to go shoot whenever they get the car out there. I don't think it's out there yet, but I'll have to go look this weekend. I'm a part of some Facebook groups for photography in my area, and there's this lady who posts beautiful pictures, absolutely stunning images of the most basic scenes. I'm pretty sure it's just like at her house, barbed wire fence with a little piece of wheatgrass coming up above the barbed wire, and it usually has the sunset or the sunrise in the background. When it was frosty, she posted one of the wheatgrass with frost on it. Absolutely beautiful. She posted one of the same area when there was no frost. Absolutely beautiful. Barns with that same kind of scenery. Wonderful. I don't think she's traveling very far to go get those pictures, but they're still amazing. It's allowed her an opportunity to shoot something consistent in different conditions and experiment. So that's another idea. Go out and shoot something, the same something, over and over and over and over with slightly different conditions. Go out at sunrise, go out at golden hour, go out at sunset, go out, when there's a super moon and you have the soft moonlight instead of daylight. There's so many different ways that you can capture the same thing that will add so much learning value to your experience that there's no reason for you to not pursue that and go capture it, right? You're just going to improve. You're just going to get better. You're just going to learn more about the fundamentals of shooting, how to use your camera in specific conditions. When you see conditions, you know what to do and what your options are to capture that subject or that scene in the best possible way. I don't have much else to say on this one, but just to kind of wrap it up and summarize, go get yourself some gear. Go shoot the bad photos, because that's how you're going to get better. Don't worry so much that those first photos are going to be so bad that you're afraid to touch your camera. Go take the bad photos and then learn from them and take better photos as you go. That's the only way. Shoot what's close by. Shoot the mundane, because people will see it, whether they scroll past it or they like it, or they like it so much that they feel the need to comment on it or save it or show it to somebody else. Shoot the mundane. Shoot the things that excite you. Shoot people, shoot dogs, shoot trees, shoot grass, shoot everything. Just go out and shoot. Get your gear, go shoot, and create things, because people want to see it. I hope that you guys got some kind of value out of this beginner tips from a beginner video, I guess you could say, is what this is. And if you did, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you haven't. Go check out my other videos, and just keep being amazing. Keep creating. Do something epic, because you're worth it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.